Hey, my name is April Rose Gabrielli.
And welcome to the FSF Podcast. Welcome to Pop Culture Addicts. Our guest today is April Rose Gabrielli. Now, I'm excited to talk to her because she's a solo artist from the Long Island, New York area who has a song called Do You that is literally racing up the Billboard charts right now. And I do mean literally. It has track shoes on. It's moving fast. You can find her music just about anywhere you listen to music, Apple, Spotify, wherever, however. But once you hear her voice, you're going to understand why her music is gaining such a strong following. So please join us in welcoming April Rose Gabrielli.
Welcome.
Hey, hi.
Yeah, I'm so glad to have you here. I'm excited to have a chance to talk to you. I love talking to musicians. As I was talking about this with you pre-show, I'm not exactly a technical person of music, but I try to consume literally as much music as I possibly can. So first off, congrats on the success that Do You is having. That's kind of amazing. It's leaving a fire trail behind it as it races up the charts, isn't it?
Thank you. Yeah, it's really funny because I was just so grateful to have produced a song, written a song with, some of the best people I know. And just to put it out was exciting in itself. So the fact that other people found it good enough to be on radio and chart and, have so much interest in it, that's a great feeling because I was just excited to put it out and kind of with no expectations, having been in other projects before and played for other bands and known the ins and outs. It's always good to kind of like not set your expectations too high on what might come next because, music is a very volatile profession and industry. So I was just thrilled. I'm thrilled still that got that kind of reaction.
Yeah, you should be. So
Yeah.
tell us, so for those who aren't familiar with the song, tell them a little bit about the song, what its inspiration is, how it came about.
So at its core, Do You with a question mark is at its root, it's a love song. Just oh my God, I just realized I love you so much love song and I'm dying to scream it out to the world. But then there's that other side of me that's always like, I can't tell anyone though. I can't let anybody know how I really feel because, I tend to love to live in the fantasy of what could be much more than, really accepting reality sometimes. And, the truth hurts a lot and it stings, especially when it has to do with love. So Do You is sort of about that. And I've noticed the phrase kind of like in popular culture or speech kind of, hey, just do your own thing.
Right.
But it can also be used as a question to like, do you know how I feel? But don't worry about it, just do your own thing. So it's sort of like I used that wordplay to kind of lead the whole song through a story of me trying to figure out if I should tell this person I love them, will it work out? Is it worth it? And then, yeah, that's pretty much what it is. That's how I can describe it today, at least.
No, I think that's a good description. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
That's cool. I like the wordplay. Wordplay is always my
Thank you. Yeah, I like poetry a lot, so I'm always amazed by what poets can do. So I try to, and other older artists, like Patti Smith's like a poet first. Led Zeppelin, very poetic. Queen, extremely poetic. I feel like I'm really watching a movie or listening to a story or something rather than a song at times. So I like to do that too.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, and it seems a lot of the time when we hear singer-songwriter, a lot of people imagine somebody with an acoustic guitar. Like that's the first thing that comes to mind. But you're very different in that aspect that you primarily play piano. And that red Casio is amazing. That is so
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. It's right next to me, actually. She's the best. And the people at Casio are fantastic to me. They're fantastic musical products and they're fantastic to me. So yeah, I'm very proud to play that and support that at all my shows. But yeah, I'm a piano player. And
when did you start playing piano?
I think when I was around 4 years old, but I'm pretty much self-taught / my mother pretty much taught me how to play the piano. So I don't really have any formal training.
So it just kind of grew with you then?
Yeah, I don't know. I just kept going. I was lucky that there was always an instrument, like a piano in my house growing up, since my mom played. So I was just always intrigued by it. And I just, as I grew up, I just always kept sitting down and playing around. And at the age of 12, I started writing words and things and then kind of putting everything together.
You know, it's funny. It was actually, I was in my early 20s when I realized that not everybody grew up with a piano in their house. Like,
Yeah, right.
That wasn't normal in every house.
No,
Nope,
I know.
didn't.
Yeah, when we were talking pre-show about like apologizing to our parents about either the way, you know, we were or how our kids are or whatever, I have those oh my gosh moments because I realize, oh my God, my mom introduced me to the coolest music. Oh my God, my mom's a songwriter. Oh my God, my dad is brilliant and so well read. Like all of these things, or oh my God, I had a home cooked meal every night.
Right.
Like all of these incredible luxuries that I can't even, like, you know, they shaped me, and, you know, our upbringing obviously shapes us a lot, but all of these blessings, you don't even realize that they truly are blessings until
And then how many times as an adult is it the
right
4:30 and you're like, wait, I have to figure out what to feed. Wait, I'm the person who's supposed to make dinner tonight.
Yeah, I always joke with my partner, I'm like, we're the adults here. Like, that's frightening. Like,
Who thought that was a good idea?
You know, like, who put me in charge? Not me. So, yeah.
I've told my husband a couple of times I need an adult. He's like, you are the adult. I'm like,
yeah.
I need somebody adultier, please. Like,
Yeah.
If I'm the adult, we are all in trouble.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
100%. If Tim's the adult, we're screwed.
I believe in you, Tim.
You probably shouldn't. I'm 6'3" and 12. So, you know,
I understand that. I think it's best not to really ever grow up in some ways, you know, keeps you fresh, but totally understandable. Yeah.
But that's cool though. I mean, that it grew with you, that you it grew with you. And I took piano lessons for 7 years, and barely use it anymore, which I feel bad about, but
you can always get back into it. Even I teach kids, and I always just say, like, when they're like, I don't have time to practice, I'm like, do 5 minutes, like 5 minutes, just do a couple scales, play around, just time yourself. When the timer goes off, just get up. Yeah, all good, you know.
Timers, overrated. Anyway,
Tim's like, discipline sounds boring.
Right? Tim's like, I don't know how to play piano. I don't know how to play any instrument.
Yeah.
I can sing to Potato Products, and that's about it.
That's right. Hell of a shower singer.
Yeah.
And steering wheel drummer, I'm your guy.
And
all right.
Award-winning chair dancer.
Oh, well, yeah. It's when I stand up, you got to move the legs. That's when it becomes a problem.
Right. I understand that.
I'm seeing your shirt, Tim. I will message you the shirt idea later.
All right. Sounds good. So, April, I also noticed in doing my research, we don't like to call it stalking on this show or any of the shows that we do because that just sounds weird. We like to call it research, the lovely light bow of research.
Yes.
But I noticed that you were with a band called Rose Monarch for a while.
Yeah.
And you were the lead vocalist for that band. You wrote songs with them and other things. And now I'm sure I'm asking you to compare apples and oranges. Okay. I realize that these are two violently different entities because of how the structure of things. But for you personally, what's the difference being a solo artist instead of being the lead vocalist for a collective group?
Both of them have their challenges and awesome points. So with the Rose Monarch, that was the first band that I was really in. Those same 4 guys. One of them's also my brother. So, you know, it felt really like a family affair, and, you know, we still talk every day and work together on certain little things. But being in a collective was a huge learning experience for me. I think it actually prepared me for all of the different challenges and musical journeys I'd go on as a solo artist, and inspired me to continue to actually do this for a living. You know, the first band I went on tour with, and it was such a blast. It was those guys, you know, so I was like, I never want this to end. I want to do this more. But, yeah, personally, like I said, it has its ups and downs because, you know, with 5 people who you get an equal share of the project, you need to really truly consider everybody's opinion. And we're in a group of 5 leaders for the most part, which is great because you have some really incredible artists all contributing to one massive thing. Sure. I find as a solo artist, things get done a little bit quicker because less decisions have to be made. And, you know, we're just producing everything right here. and
Nice.
it's mostly a laptop project. We have some real instruments, but mostly it's like a laptop project. And that makes it a little easier, but I love the camaraderie of being in a band. And I still play with a band with this project as well. It's just a little smaller. But yeah, both are fun. I just love playing music. I still play keys for a band called KULICK.
Yeah.
Also write for. So like, I just like, if you want me to just like go up on stage and like do this in the band, like I'll do it. Like I just love being a band, you know? So any sort of band musical situation, I love to just be involved with. I love the dynamic of it all.
All right. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. I would imagine, never having been in a band, but I would imagine that there would be some areas where, like you said, things would move a little faster being a solo artist because, there's the democracy of a band where everybody gets a vote. Everybody has a say. How are we going to do this? How are we going to proceed? Whereas a solo artist, this is what I would like to do. This is how I want to do it. This is how I'd like to proceed. So I can see how that might make it a little easier, but I also see the other side where, the camaraderie of being able to share that a little more with the group could be appealing as well.
Absolutely.
So.
And the funny thing is too, as I'm saying this, I realize like I have so many with a band, like we were all self-managed. We were doing it all ourselves. Now as a solo artist, like I have brought on a manager and booking and a label and a publisher and like all of these different people. So while I'm really lucky that my team doesn't necessarily tell me what to do and how to do it, they just encourage my vision, which is nice. But I mean, I definitely do have a lot more people to talk to about my things now. But it's not exactly the same. But I get a lot of encouragement and support of my ideas, so I see them come into fruition a little bit more quickly. But again, it's just one vision you really have to keep into account. So it's a little different. But
so last year you got a publishing deal and a record contract as a solo artist, and
yeah.
Things are difficult for musicians these days with live shows being limited. And music sales what they are because of streaming, although vinyl is making a notable resurgence, which is just awesome.
That's good, yeah.
So how are you and your team adapting to the newer ways of doing things so that everyone benefits and you can keep doing what you love, especially getting to perform live again?
Well, I mean, the focus, I believe, with my team is we're just really focusing on making the product good, because if the music is good, it'll have longevity. Not necessarily adapting. There's a lot of trendy things to do right now, but as we all know, trends die. Although bell bottoms are making a comeback, but that's a good one. But anyway, most of the trends die.
I've never been a fan of skinny jeans.
Oh my God. So like a lot of different trends die. I see a lot of, in my opinion, I see a lot of artists doing a lot of things that I just don't feel like is going to contribute to their craft or their longevity as an artist. So I'm just trying to focus on continuing learning to be a good musician and a good artist and a good writer and vocalist, and continue to grow that. And we sort of jump into whatever we need to. So on the publishing side, I've been trying to work to get different syncs, which is basically having music placed into films or commercials. I got a sync with a movie that got premiered in Tribeca Film Festival. So that was cool. The song was written for it, and that was a great first experience for me. So on the publishing side, that's a sort of a way to, have an income there. And then live shows have been great. I'm trying to be a little bit more sparing of where I play. And when I play, obviously for health reasons and, just so enough people come out where the show is profitable and, just a smart call. And it's more fun, people see you a little less. They're more excited to see you next time.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. And then as far as music marketing, it's funny. A lot of people, even myself, tend to gravitate towards streaming as the main way to be an artist in those numbers, but it's one of the least profitable ways to be an artist. So while I definitely keep my streaming numbers and I take it into account and I keep focused on, growing that channel, I also try to, we did radio and that really worked. Like it was really well received in the radio world and people are hearing it there. And it's a great accolade. Like the Billboard charts have been around forever, so longer than anything else that's been around now. So I just history tends to repeat itself and a lot of different things. Like whereas like 10, 15 years ago, it'd be a big deal to be at the top of the iTunes charts. Now it's, global Spotify charts. Oh, I got an editorial playlist from Spotify. You know, there's these different sort of channels. But like I'm happy that we kind of went a traditional route in the terms of getting this song an accolade like Billboard, you know, getting that sort of up there. So we're gonna try to start there and see how it grows. But yeah, I'm trying to work on organic growth as well and keeping that a priority. So long story short, I'm sorry, I don't land the plane very well most of the times.
It's all right.
Long story short, like keeping it authentic and then, you know, just following what makes sense for me. Yeah.
No, that's fine. And frankly, we don't care how you land the plane. We like long stories, so we're good.
Okay. I really talk I get
no, that's okay. That's okay. We tell guests all the time, you know what? Long stories are good stories because there's usually a little bit more information, a little more detail in there. And
Right.
it's a more rounded explanation or you know, view for us from the outside looking in as to how this thing or that thing is actually functioning or working.
Absolutely. That's good. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. So don't feel like you got to cut it short for us.
Thanks.
Secondly, though, you mentioned in your answer there the movie that was for the Tribeca Film Fest. That was Tameless, correct?
The song that was written for it's called Tameless, and the movie is called Not the Science Type. It's a docu-series about 4 women. It focuses on 4 women in STEM fields. It's really cool. It's a really cool concept, really cool movie. Yeah, I was very happy to be part of that.
I have not seen the movie, but I did listen to the song quite a few times, and I'll be honest with you, out of all your songs that I heard, that's actually my favorite.
Really?
Yeah. Do You is very good. Don't take any slight towards that, but I
to know what people lean towards because that helps me.
I really enjoy Tameless. Just it's got some really neat rise and fall to it, and the way your voice carries. And to me, I don't know, it just kind of caught me differently. And I was like, that one I may have listened to on repeat a couple of times. So if you got a couple extra pennies from iTunes,
thank you.
That might be from what that is. But
no, that's awesome. Yeah. I'm happy to hear it. And that song strikes a chord a lot with like any younger fans that I have. They love Tameless. So I mean, and older, whoever. Like it's really interesting to see who gravitates towards what. Like I loved writing that song because I have my roots in musical theater and theatrics. Like I said, I think pre-show I'm pretty dramatic. But naturally, I like gravitate towards writing, more theatrical, intriguing, sort of not leaning on pop as much type songs. Like I love those different chord progressions that I threw into that. The pre-chorus of Tameless, that was one of the first parts that I wrote. It just came really naturally to me. So no, I love Tameless. I love it. It's not like whatever else it's not like a lot of what else I put out, but I write a lot more songs like that than I put out. So it is nice to get the positive feedback on something I'm not innately like, yeah, let's put that out, so that's good to know.
Excellent.
Yeah, thank you.
So I personally think that one of the reasons for your climb up the charts is your approach to the music itself, just like what you were just talking about just there. The industry, in my opinion, has been turning out a lot of plastic copycat. It's the same thing over and over and over again, where they get 1 or 2 songs and then that person becomes a face in the crowd because there's nothing that distinguishes themselves from anything else. But even a cursory pass through of your music kind of shows that how different it is. It's refreshing to me. It's well written. It's arranged nicely. There's strong vocals. And hold on, kids, as she already mentioned, she plays instruments. So she's not just
get out of this world, right?
Exactly. It's something different. Originally, I didn't have a question here. I just wanted to point out how refreshing it was to actually talk to an actual musician.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
But in getting to it, I actually found a question.
Okay.
So thinking about this and how you're making headway in the music industry, you mentioned a couple names earlier that had some impact on you, but I'd like to know who are your true musical influences and really kind of got you about, to be the person that we're talking to today.
Well, I would have to say my very first musical influence has to be my mom because she taught me all the chords to her songs, and they're pretty much all minor chords. Like I said, drama is like a biological thing over here. But so she definitely shaped the way that I look at songs and the way that I actually write songs. So her. But as far as people that other people might know, I love Pink as a vocalist, and I think all around she's just a well-rounded. She's one of the, I think, probably the best living live performer ever. I mean, she's like an acrobat. She's incredible.
Got an amazing voice.
I mean, the voice is just like great. Of course, she has a great voice, and then she does everything on top of that. She could just sit there and sing, you know.
Sure.
She doesn't really have to do anything more, but she does, and she always gives like 112%. Like, so I love that about her. I love Florence and the Machine. Kind of her similar.
Ooh, nice.
Super well-rounded. Lyrics are. She's a poet.
Mm-hmm.
No question about it. Totally a poet. I love her. I love Queen. I love Tom Petty. Kings of Leon.
Nice.
Muse.
I love Muse.
I love Muse. I love me some Muse. They have a lot of theatrics in their music too that I really appreciate. And I always get stuck on this question because there's like so many, but those are on the top of my mind at the moment. Those are some of my bigger influences that
All right. Solid influences though.
They're awesome. Just I like big stuff. Like where it's so crazy I can't get out of my head. Like big in any way, you know, whether it's the lyrics, the sound, the use of instruments, the use of production. Yeah.
So your path has taken you some interesting places. And looking at the Billboard charts recently, your name is showing up next to names like The Weeknd and Shawn Mendes and Elton John and Taylor Swift. So do you ever look at those lists and start to question if this is all real, if this is really where your life is?
Yeah, I'm like still convinced it's all photoshopped and my manager's just trying to make me feel better or something. It's so silly. Like I can't the thing is too, like I've always, no matter what I've done, I always felt like I was on the outside of everything. Like I always just felt like such an outsider. Like I was never in the cool kids club. You know what I mean? Which
right there with you.
It's all an illusion anyway. Like the cool kids club is wherever you're at. But like, I this is like the closest I felt to being like, wow, like, oh, that's cool. Like other people are willing to play my music and it's validating. And, you know, other than obviously like live shows are great and validating, you know, when they're good, but like when there's people there. But, you know, being up on a chart or getting that kind of recognition from radio and support from radio is really cool and definitely surreal. I've definitely reached like a great goal, and this has been a time period that I will not soon forget. I will always cherish this beginning.
See, and I can understand that to this teeny tiny little extent. Our podcast got to go to a small Comic-Con in Monroe, Michigan, last weekend. And we were doing panels. Like I had never been to a Comic-Con before, and suddenly I'm doing panels and there's people coming to the panel room to listen to me talk about things. And then I got to meet Darren McCarty, the former Red Wings hockey player.
Cool.
And talk to him. And I'm like, this is
it's weird. It's weird, especially when you're a creative person or you're somebody who's making their own thing, like an entrepreneur, like to actually see these visions. Because we work on this for years, not only physically, but internally to, you know, go after these dreams or these goals that we have. And then to actually be in that moment. First of all, the moments always are so short, it feels, after all of that build up. And then, it's crazy because then you have that moment of like, where do I go from here? Am I satisfied? What's next? Because I've only noticed in my life.
What's next?
Yeah, in my life, it's like I get to that big thing and I'm like, okay, let's get bigger here. Like, how can we build on this? But yeah, no, it's a completely the same thing as what you're talking about. I completely can relate. I'm sure that's the exact same thing.
Yeah, I cannot imagine my name being next to Elton John and Taylor Swift. Like that would blow my mind.
Yeah, I like all of their music too. I love The Weeknd. I love Elton John, and I love Taylor Swift. So it was cool too. Because I actually really like. Shawn Mendes is very talented as well. They're all very talented. Obviously, they're pretty.
Well, I mean, it's Elton John. Of course, he's talented.
Well, yeah, you can't really say anything about him. He's the best. But
I have a question that I like to ask people when we have them on the show.
Yeah.
I like to know about people's backgrounds and where they kind of came from. And you kind of alluded this to a little bit about with your mom and, you know, the piano in the house and the way things happened. But, you know, everybody's got a backstory at how they got where they're at and, what kind of shaped them to be the person they are. you know, like for some kids, they saw the fire truck come down the road and they're like, that's it. That's what I want to do. Or they saw their favorite sports, you know, star playing basketball, football, baseball, you know, whatever it was. And they're like, that's it. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to be. So for April Rose Gabrielli, was it always music, or was there something else that held your attention for some period of time? Or like I said, was it always music and that's what it was going to be one way or another?
Yeah, it was always music, and I was never going to be without music. I don't know. I feel very lucky I feel very lucky for that to be my reality. One of the first thoughts I ever had or remember having, like being conscious and awake as a baby, was I want to be on a stage with other people. That was just in my mind. Like I said, there was music around the house, and I don't know if, I mean, I was in dance classes at a young age, but something in my gut was like, I just want to be on stage. I want to like make things with other people. I just like had this, I didn't even know what to call that. My first thing in my mind, I was like, I want to name it like Kid-tastical. Like I was like 5. Like I wanted it because I was like, I wanted it. I don't know. It's like literally was one of the first thoughts in my mind. Was just silly. So I was really little baby. And then that kind of grew up into, you know, still being around music, having the piano in the house. And then around the age of, I guess, 8 or 9, I started getting really heavy into dance. And then at the dance studio, by the luck of it all, they had voice lessons right in the next room. So I was like, I want to take voice lessons because I saw some of the other dancers taking voice lessons. So I took a couple months, 1 year. I took like a season's worth, I guess, of voice lessons and had my first vocal performance at 9, singing something from My Fair Lady. And the minute I hit that stage and was singing, I had those like 2003 like pop star mics, but I was in like a little maid costume from My Fair Lady with a broom, and I was like, this was the most amazing experience of my life, and I felt like $1,000,000 after. People were like, oh, you were great, blah blah, like people were complimenting me. Like, of course I was like a 9-year-old on stage, so who knows what it really sounded like, but everybody was so kind, and I just loved the fan interaction. Like all of it was incredible. And then a couple years later, I started going through puberty, which is always fun. So you have like, so many feelings.
Puberty's the worst.
I know, it's tough, but I luckily had music, so I wound up starting to write music at around 12 or 13, wrote a musical about a bunch of teenagers that go to a boarding camp over the summer because they're all bad at school, but then they all meet each other and they're like, oh, we're all the same. Woo! Let's heal through each other. Great. So I wrote that, produced it at 17 in 2 workshops on Long Island. It was like, and then we donated everything because I didn't want to break any child labor laws. And then I tried to get into theater school. They didn't let me in. So I just said, you know, to heck with that. I'm going to cut my hair off, get tattoos, get a business degree, and then play gigs on the side. Played gigs on the side while I was living in New York City. Toured with bands, wrote for bands, things like that. Went on my first big tour with a band named KULICK I'd mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
In about 2018. And through that whole process of meeting him and meeting some managers and just a whole new circle of people, I kind of took it upon myself and some of the new people I met to, you know, turn this into a reality as far as me pursuing this full time and this being a thing that I could actually do to eat and, you know, keep the lights on and things like that. So that's I guess the shortest way I can describe how I'm here now.
No, I think everybody's backstory has so many different layers to it. And it's not just one thing that we go, you know, it was this. Typically, anyway, it's never really just the one thing where somebody goes, well, it was this, and this is why I want to do it. There's, you know, to borrow a line from Shrek, you know, onions have layers, and so do backstories. Backstories have layers.
Right.
You know.
Oh, not Shrek again.
You're welcome.
A great movie.
Shrek is great. Yeah, I mean, like, there's definitely like moments I can think of that I didn't mention, but like I saw Sutton Foster in Thoroughly Modern Millie on Broadway when I was like 9, which was just an incredible experience. Things like that where I was like, oh my God, I really want to do that. And also my brother, having been a drummer as well, at the ages of 10 and 12, we were just in his bedroom, basically. Like, he was drumming. I had the keyboard plugged into the amp. And we were just like going at it. Like, he was the first person I jammed with. So, you know, little moments and memories like that too are very crucial. But, you know, all along the way, I kind of always knew in my gut, like, music is, I have no choice here. This is what I'm going to do. Too bad. You know?
No,
All right.
I get it. When music is part of you, when music is part of your life, it is always going to be there. Like, it doesn't matter what other pathway you think you might take. No, music, you always go back to music.
Yeah. People, it's funny because people will even contact me from not, you know, having talked for a couple years, come out of college a couple years. People are like, wow, it's cool to see you're like still at it. I'm like, what do you mean still? Like, this has never been an option. Like, this is
where I'm supposed to go. Like,
what's happening.
Yeah.
Thank you for acknowledging that it's still happening. Thanks for acknowledging that I'm still alive. I noticed. Thank you.
There you go.
I was questioning it, but now I'm not.
Yeah, like sometimes on the fence, but you know, like most days now I'm pretty aware. Like, yeah, thank you.
Knowing that this was where you wanted to go, that this was the path you wanted to take, there's a question that I've been asking the musicians that we've talked to lately, because every musician's experience is different. So what advice would you give to someone who's just starting out in their bedroom or in their parents' garage that you wish you had known when you started your musical career?
Oh, so much. I think the most important thing is that I feel if you're a creative person or you're creating something, it's coming from a special place, like your gut or wherever it comes from. But I'm going to just reference it like as a gut. So you always have to sort of trust your gut. If you feel a melody should go a certain way and someone's kind of telling you, I don't really like it, as long as you like it and you have a vision for it, you need to be completely in charge and fearlessly in charge of sculpting what your greatest vision is. Even if you're like 12, seriously, like you need to. I have a songwriter that I teach. She came to me as an 8-year-old and her mom was like, she's writing these songs. And these are some of the best melodies I've ever heard. And I feel, you know, with a little coaching and thing, I'm actually trying to be like, hey, let's organize it. Let's do this. But I mean, your youngest moments and your earliest moments are so important. So you need to stay true to them and continue on with them. People will give you advice and coaching along the way, which is very important. But always, you know, keep that second to what you know you sort of want to do and what you know you're after. Sometimes, you know, at times in my life, I've gotten so many no's. You will always get a lot of no's in life, but the yeses matter. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you just got to keep moving in the direction that you want to move in. And I used to get bummed a lot, too. This is something I wish somebody told me more. I believed more. A lot of people used to criticize me because I wasn't technically trained, especially on piano, or I couldn't read music, or, you know, I wasn't able to see every Broadway show like all these other I don't know where these people came from, but I always used to get bullied for things like that, like when I was in theater camp or around other young musicians. And it was like, you know, at the end of the day, it's like if I'm not past where those people are, I'm right up with them. So it doesn't matter. Like, you don't need to have money. You don't even need to have talent. You just got to keep following this passion and this fire within you, because it's there for a reason. And so you need to let it do its thing. But not so much matters. Less matters than you think. It's just you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great advice.
At all. Just do you, baby.
That's solid advice. The staying true to yourself is that's hard though.
You have to. And it's so much easier said than done. But the people that I know that have succeeded and done very well for themselves, they have not let anyone tell them or push them down in any sort of way. So I wish I did more of that. Yeah.
You know, April, it has been fantastic talking to you today.
Thank you.
We are so appreciative that you were willing to be on the show. But we want to make sure that we link your socials, your website, everything, so that our viewers and our listeners can find you. So where can they find you?
Okay, so I got a really big long name, but I have faith in everybody that they can remember it. So it's pretty much all my socials are at April Rose Gabrielli. That's APRIL like the month, Rose like the flower, ROSE, and then Gabrielli, which is GABRIELLI. So I have a website, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I think I'm on TikTok. Yeah, I'm on TikTok. I might start a Discord soon. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty much, if you want to find me, just throw that name into your browser and it should come up. So I should come up.
We are going to make sure that we at least link like your Facebook, and the bigger ones will links.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And we'll just remind people that they can always Google you.
Yeah, Googling is the best because it's the thing that you want to see. So
I guarantee you'll be the number one result if you type in April Rose Gabrielli. I know that because that's how I found all your information.
I think I am. As long as people get the last name right, I'm all, so. But it's been good so far. So.
And actually, I can guarantee that even if you misspell the last name, it's still going to show up. Trust
You're
me.
right about that. Thank you. That's a big confidence boost.
Because I misspelled it. So I was freehand. I was free typing and just kind of went, April Rose. No, that's not right. But I'd already hit enter and it all, so did you mean,
yes,
had the correct spelling? Well, yes, Google. That is exactly what I meant.
That's a true triumph. Thank you for sharing that. That makes me feel better.
There you go. Yeah, you're easier to find on the socials than you probably think you are. But yeah.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's good. I wanted to come up with a stage name, but I'm telling you, like, everything felt so silly, and it's really cool seeing your full name on a Billboard chart. So I feel good about it.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Ego, I'd be like, okay, but that's like me, so it's cool. So.
You're still sticking true to yourself that way too.
Yeah, right. That's probably the biggest thing I had to overcome with that. I was like, I don't know, I feel silly using my whole name. I was like, just do it. Oh my God.
There you go.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
do you?
Just do you. Point, wink, finger gun.
Using her words against her, Tim.
Oh yeah, no, I did it too. I do it by accident sometimes. I want to like hide because I'm like, oh my God, people must think I'm so into myself, and it's like so the opposite.
I'm just a 3-time dad joke abuser, so if I get a chance to do something silly or say something silly, it's probably going to happen. So.
Yeah,
you're just silly. You're just a silly person.
It's better than being like rude and emotionless. So I'm cool.
True.
Yeah.
That is super true.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we want to remind everybody that subscribing is going to be the single most important thing that you can do to help us here on Pop Culture Addicts and get more amazing guests like April Rose Gabrielli and have these great conversations and be able to share some laughs with. So please subscribe. It's going to help us more than you'll ever know. And please go check her out on all her socials. Type in April Rose Gabrielli. Don't worry about the spelling. You're going to find her anyway. And make sure that you follow, you listen, because she's got some great stuff already out. And based on what we've already seen, we can be sure that there's more to come. And I'm looking forward to that as well. So, and remember, kids, pop culture, it's all around you. It influences every part of our lives, all we do, even the t-shirt I put on today. So be sure to come back next week. We're going to have your fix waiting for you right here on Pop Culture Addicts.
Thank you again, April.
Of course, anytime.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Bye, guys.
On behalf of the rest of the hosts of the FSF Popcast, we want to thank you for listening to this episode. If you'd like to be a guest on a future episode, please contact us by means of Twitter or Instagram using the handle @FSFPopcast. Or go to www.fsfpopcast.com and click on the Contact Me link. Thanks again, and hope you enjoyed the episode.